Hello students, welcome to lecture number 14. In this lecture we will go through the area vector. First of all, what is an area vector? Small area of a surface can be represented by a vector. Area is a vector quantity. We have already studied this in vector analysis class 11th. Suppose there is a surface whose area is S. We choose a very small surface on this particular surface. So very small, being very small, it will become ds. So area vector will be acting perpendicularly outward direction. Okay. So area vector always acts perpendicularly outward from the surface in this manner. And suppose the unit vector representing this direction as n cap. This is vector ds showing the direction of this particular vector, which is area vector. Now, how can we represent vector ds? Vector ds will be represented by ds n cap. Ds represents the magnitude of this particular small area and n cap direction. It's a unit vector. Next, what is electric flux? After understanding the area vector, actually the purpose of understanding the area vector to understand the electric flux. Electric flux linked with any surface is defined as the total number of electric lines of force that normally pass through that surface. So, what is electric flux? It is a measure of number of electric field lines normally pass through the surface. Okay, and to understand it, let us have the diagram. Let us have this surface of any shape like this, whose area is S. And now these are the electric field lines passing through this surface. Okay, this is the electric field E direction, in this direction from left to right. We choose a very small area over here. Its vector representation will be ds in this direction. Suppose we choose a very small area over here. ds is acting in this direction at an angle theta with the electric field. Now again another small area ds we are choosing, which acts in this direction, which is normal to the electric field. Okay. Another surface we choose over here, whose area vector is acting in this direction at an angle theta, this theta with the electric field. Another small surface we choose on this particular surface, whose vector is acting in this direction at an angle theta with the electric field. So you can see the theta over here, here 90 degree, here in the same direction. So electric flux will be calculated by the measure of number of electric field lines passing normally to the surface. So you can see electric field lines everywhere not passing normally to every surface, because this surface area vector is acting in this direction. So electric field line is not normal to the electric field, to the area vector. Okay, or we can say to this surface area. So to calculate the electric flux d phi through a small area. Suppose we choose a very small area, anywhere we can select, here, anywhere, through a small area element ds due to an electric field E at an angle theta with ds's. It means if electric field is aligning at an angle theta with area vector ds, then in that case the electric flux, since the area is very small ds, so electric field line, number of electric field lines passing normally will be d phi. Small, it will also be small, so that's why d phi, and formula is d phi is equal to vector E dot ds. Why? Because to take the number of electric field lines passing normally, we have to choose, or we need to choose the component of the electric field which is normal to the as it is written over here, electric field line linked with any surface is defined as the total number of electric lines of force that normally passes through the surface. So how many electric field lines are passing normally? To count that electric field line, or to calculate the electric field lines which are passing normally, we have to take the component. So that's why this theta is being introduced over here. So d phi is equal to vector E dot ds, or when we expand this, it is a dot product, so we can write E ds cos theta, right? Or you can understand in this manner that E cos theta into ds. Why E cos theta? Suppose electric field and ds both are acting in the same direction, so theta will be 0, so simply it will be E ds. But if theta is other than 0, so we have to take the component, right? And suppose electric field line and ds are aligning at, or we can say area vector are aligning at an angle 90 degree. So what will happen? The electric flux will be 0, as you can see over here, ds in this direction and electric field lines direction is this, so therefore 90 degree. So the measurement of flux will be what? 0. Clear? Because theta is equal to 90 degree and cos 90 is equal to 0. So this is the formula of electric flux. D phi is equal to E dot d vector E dot ds, or E ds cos theta, or it can also be written in another form after integration. Total electric flux phi over the whole surface S due to an electric field E is phi. We will integrate, when we will integrate d phi, it will become phi integration of what? E dot vector ds, and which integral? Surface integral. So integration, when we'll expand this, E ds cos theta, so E cos theta will be outside, integration of ds will be s, so E s cos theta. Okay, or we can write phi is equal to E dot s. When d phi we write, so it will be vector E dot ds. When we'll write phi, so it will become E dot s. Okay. Electric flux is a scalar quantity. As you can see, this is a scalar product. Dot product is which kind of product? Scalar product. So that's why it is which kind of quantity? Scalar quantity, but it is a property of vector field. So you can understand with this statement that electric flux is a vector quantity, but it is a property of which kind of field? Vector field, because we observe the direction of electric field in understanding the electric flux, right? SI unit of electric flux is Newton meter square per coulomb. Okay, how Newton meter square per coulomb? By putting the value of the units of electric field intensity and what? The surface area. Okay, so F upon according to the formula, E is equal to F upon Q naught, Newton per coulomb, correct, into meter square. So Newton meter square per coulomb, right? Now this is another form of the unit, joule meter per coulomb. Okay, after understanding the relation between work done and electric field, right? Next, special cases. According to the formula, phi is equal to E dot s, which kind of cases arise? Let us understand. First, for theta greater than 0 degree, less than 90 degree, phi is positive, because when theta is greater than 0, less than 90, cos theta is positive, so therefore phi is also positive. Second case, for theta is equal to 90 degree, cos 90 will be 0, so phi will be 0, right? Third, for theta greater than 90 degree and less than 180 degree, so for in this range, the cos phi will be what? Negative, so that's why cos theta will be negative, so therefore phi is also negative, right? Solid angle. This particular topic, solid angle, you have already studied in class 11th, the chapter unit and measurement, but we have to recall it once again to understand the upcoming topic, okay, that I will reveal after understanding the solid angle. Actually, we are not going to understand, actually we are going to recall the topic solid angle. Solid angle. Solid angle is the three-dimensional equivalent of an ordinary two-dimensional plane angle. So it is equivalent to plane angle, but in which dimension? 3 dimensions. Okay. So three-dimensional equivalent of an ordinary two-dimensional plane angle is solid angle, and basic definition is already given in class 11th. You can revise from there. SI unit of solid angle is steradian. We have already studied in class 11th. Let us understand how the solid angle, suppose how the solid angle appears, or how the solid angle is explained. Let us see. Suppose we choose a area over a surface. Suppose it's a sphere, and on the surface of the sphere we choose a small area like this, and we join we can say the boundary of this area to the center of the sphere. So the angle which is formed at the center is the solid angle. Okay. This vector is the position vector r cap. This d omega, we choose a very small area, so very small angle will be formed, d omega. Okay. This is r cap, and this particular n cap shows the direction of area vector. Just now before this slide we understood the n cap's direction. Okay. And this r cap is showing the radially outward direction. Okay, which is along the, suppose it was a sphere, so it will be along the radius of the sphere, r cap. Okay, this is the vector ds direction, n cap. Suppose theta is the angle between r cap and n cap. So solid angle subtended by area element ds at the center O of a sphere of radius r is, so at the center of the sphere of radius r, how much solid angle will be subtended? D omega is equal to ds cos theta by r square. This is the formula. Okay. Remember, we will take the component of this ds in which direction? Radially outward direction. So it would be ds component in this direction would be what? Ds cos theta. That's why ds cos theta by r square is written. Okay. You must be remembering in class 11th we understood the solid angle formula as the surface area divided by radius square. Okay. So this is the surface area and this is the radius square. Okay. Cos theta stands for the component, because we have taken the component, they both are not in the same direction. So due to the component of ds, the ds cos theta is written. So now the total solid angle integration of d omega is equal to surface integral of ds cos theta by r square, that is equal to 4 pi steradian, because total angle subtended at the center of the sphere will be what? 4 pi, 360 degree, you must be knowing according to the geometry. Okay. So the total solid angle at the center of the sphere would be what? 4 pi steradian. Clear? So this is the description of the solid angle. Previously we have understood the electric flux, also the area vector. These all topics will help us to understand the upcoming topic, which is definitely the backbone of many other topics which frequently asked in the board examination, and that upcoming topic itself is frequently asked in the board examination. Okay, that topic will understand next slide, or we can say next video lecture. That topic is what? Gauss theorem. So Gauss theorem will be our next topic in the next video lecture. Till that time, keep on studying, keep on working hard, and keep on revising. Thank you so much.